Trouble, trouble in paradise, trouble in paradise. I had this huge, intro plan where I was going to, sing a parody of the Thunder in Paradise theme, the show with Hulk Hogan from the 90s. And it was going to be, this weird little action intro, and I was going to come in and be all actiony, and, yeah. And probably in the process had more fun than I did watching this movie. But anyway, hello there, Nate Jackson, Criterion Collection Reviewer Guy. All sorts of places and thieves and jewel heists and robberies. With number 170. Number 170, we only got 30 more. Oh man. Well, we only got 30 more, jeez. Ernest Lubitsch's Trouble in Paradise. Well, I'll show you the actual cover. I use that because you can't see the thing because of the 7-day loan thing. Anyway, Trouble in Paradise. 1932, 82 minutes, black and white, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I wasn't crazy about this one. I wasn't. It was funny at times. It was good. It was a good comedy. It had some nice cinematography from Lubitsch. But there's just so much that no one really that only film buffs like Peter Bogabajabogaba will pay attention to. It's it's really just, it's kind of annoying. So I don't know. I wasn't into this one as much as I just wasn't much into this one. I'm hoping that his later films, like To Be or Not, well, I'll like To Be or Not to Be because Jack Benny's in it, but more on Jack Benny later. So let's talk about this film. So this is about the jewel thief, or a robber, a thief named Gaston, Monsieur Gaston or something like that, and he invites this countess over under the impression that he's a baron. He invites this countess over to have dinner with him. And he tells about these stories. They tell these stories about these different robberies and all that. And they slowly realize that they're missing each other things, and they both realize that each other is a pickpocket, or he realizes that the countess is a pickpocket, and so they do this real scene where they end up revealing things that they stole from each other, and from that they end up falling in love. And I didn't think that was a really intelligent concept. So yeah, and they fall in love because they're jewel thieves together, and they made it all romantic and I don't know. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, there is the heir to this perfume company, Collet Perfume, comes in, and she's pursued by these two suitors. One guy named Phil Bow. Wait, what is this guy's name? I want to know his name because he's played by Edward Everett Horton, who was the only name I recognized. Well, I recognized his name and I recognized his face, and Herbert Marshall I knew too, but Edward Everett Horton I know from he's a good actor. And I know him, of course, from Fractured Fairy Tales. What was his name? Francois Bildow or something. They call him Francois. Anyway. So Francois and the Major are these two guys who are both pursuing Collet, Mademoiselle Collet, or Mariette, I guess, if you will, Mariette Collet. And she both doesn't really care much for them, but she still, goes out with them. And Gaston finds out about her, and so he realizes that she's an heir to she's got a huge fortune, because it's a really popular perfume. So he goes into her services under the guise of her secretary, and so he starts making all these big decisions, and he gets access to everything, and so he is working. He works, and then he gets, I guess, his secretary, who is played by Lily, his love, and they both move in, and they get this plan to steal her money and all that. And he ends up falling in love with Miss Collet. And of course, he doesn't realize that he kind of falls for her actually, and they fall for each other, and so it becomes even closer. And then so Lily ends up getting jealous, and And meanwhile, all this is happening. The two suitors, Francois and the Major, are like trying to figure out who he is, because they both know him they both seen him before before he comes into her services. Because what happens is he steals Gaston steals her purse and returns it to her under the guise that he's just the guy who found it, and so she's like, "Oh, I'll give you a job," and that's how he gets the job. However, Francois knows Gaston because he stole his wallet under the guise of a doctor or a dentist or a doctor who's going to take out his tonsils. And the Major knows him because Gaston pretends to be the doctor who shoos the Major away after finding the handbag and says, "Oh, she fainted. Don't, no one must see her right now." And of course, the Major believes him because he's that gullible. And it gives him a chance to tell Francois, "Nope, nobody can see him. Nope, I'm already seeing him, even though the doctor is already there." And so this goes on, and eventually, at a dinner party, Francois begins to put the pieces together, and Gaston realizes this, so he tells Lily that we've got to get out of here. So he tells her to pack the bags and all that, and he wants to say goodbye. He's going to I think he originally plans to kill himself off. He sends a bunch of flowers to Colette, and ends up charging it to her account and all that. And so he ends up going, but then he ends up realizing that he doesn't want to leave her too much, and he ends up falling for her again, and they finally kiss, a big passionate kiss scene and all that. But in the end, he realizes, he goes away, and he eventually ends up confessing to her that he stole, he's been robbing her all this time, and mostly because he sees Lily gets extremely jealous and comes back to her place, and he sees her there, and he realizes, oh God, I'm screwed, so I guess I gotta confess. And then then Colette finds out that Lily stole money from the safe, and so she confesses to it. She runs off and all that. She hightails it, and in the end, because eventually they do put it together. Francois and the Major eventually put it together that he is a jewel thief. Here he's a thief. So they eventually run off, and so Gaston realizes that he can't stay with Colette because otherwise she's going to get arrested. However, he does tip her off to the fact that this guy who's been working with her, Adolf something or other, is actually, stealing her money, because I guess she puts it together because he confronts him about it, and he ends up saying, he doesn't call the police on him. So I guess he puts that to him, like, why, if he really cared about her, he would have called the police, and not let him get away. He says, I will give you a chance to get away. And it's like, well, that means, you're trying to steal money from her. And so he lets her know and all that. And so that's kind of figure out. And eventually he has to say goodbye to her, and he walks off because he eventually thinks that, because Colette thinks that, oh, he's going to go with Lily, but he comes back just to say goodbye to her and can, express that, and she ends up giving and he ends up, realizing, taking the necklace, this, I think it's this necklace that Lily wanted, and Colette, says, go ahead and take it, compliments of Colette and company. And so they go off, and Lily and Gaston get away, and there's another scene where they reveal stuff they stole, and it's confusing. Well, it's not too confusing. It's not confusing, but it's just, it's a little too intelligent for its own good. It's just, I don't know. There's just something that doesn't sit well with me on this. There are some very funny scenes. There are some really, really good little snappy bits of dialogue. Some funny scenes, like the song. There's a little commercial for Colette perfumes that the guy sings, and that was really funny. And then there's a great line when Gaston and Lily are making the train arrangements and to get away, and they're on the phone. He's calling thing, and the phone rings, and he picks up. Gaston picks up. He's like, "Hello, you found a handbag? Well, you're 3 years too late. Goodbye." 3 weeks too late. That's what he says. So that was kind of funny, a callback. That was probably the best line in the film for me personally, because it's like, so he's still asking about the handbag. That little detail still dropped, and he had time to answer the phone and all that. That was pretty damn funny. But yeah, no, just the rest of it, it's just too cutesy wootsy, and like I said, it felt weird. It just didn't sit well with me. So, I mean, shot beautifully. And yeah, the actress who played Lily, there's something about Miriam Hopkins, who I might have seen in something else, but I just didn't get it. So I'm not giving this one. I mean, what do I give it? Give it a B. Give it a B minus. It wasn't a horrible film, but I'm giving it a B minus because I just didn't like. I mean, Edward Everett Horton was great. Herbert Marshall was cool. And there was some good scenes throughout, that were kind of funny. But just in the end, I don't really care to see this movie again, really. I have no interest in seeing it again, so B minus. Not horrible. If you were into weird, really bizarre comedies, check it out, Otherwise, you can skip this one. You can definitely skip the special features, for the most part. There's an intro with, Peter Bogdanovich, which I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name right, or pretend to impersonate him, because I'd have to, I just totally offended everybody, but who cares? And basically it's 10 minutes of him butt kissing Lubitsch. Yeah, it's basically 10 minutes of butt kissing and all that, and butt kissing the movie too. And then there's a 47-minute short film, a silent film called The Merry Jail, or Das viele Gefängnis, which I think was directed by Ernst Lubitsch, which was done in 1917, and I think it starred him. I think he's in it, and he plays a policeman, I think. And it's an adaptation of Johann Strauss opera, I think, and it's just boring. It was funny at times, but it was really confusing and boring, and I didn't like it very much. Something about some guy who is drunk, and so his wife tries to catch him in the act on trying to flirt with somebody else, and there's guys who get cards stuck to their butt, and you have to see it for yourself. There's a section of tributes to Lubitsch, which are all these different directors who, more butt kissing of this guy. But the highlight, in fact, the only reason why I would buy this DVD, and even then, I've heard this and seen this done better, is a 1940, I think it's October 1940, Screen Guild Theater radio program. The features Ernst Lubitsch, Claudette Colbert, Basil Rathbone, and the one and only Mr. Love and Bloom himself, Jack Benny. God, I love Jack Benny, and I can't wait for it to be or not to be, because I'm hoping that it is a better, hoping it kicks Trouble in Paradise's butt. It probably will, because it's Jack Benny, and it's the sadly gone Carole Lombard that we've already seen, of course, and My Man Godfrey. But yeah, so this is it's a little short film. I thought it was going to be an adaptation of Trouble in Paradise, but apparently it's a first of all, it's a half-hour short. I didn't realize that. It's a program, and it's basically about why Jack will not appear. Jack was supposed to appear on the show with Carole Lombard, and apparently it's this it's a play about Jack was it shows Jack calling all these directors oh, I want to play this part with Ernst Lubitsch was directing this film with Claudette Colbert and Basil Rathbone, and the thing is, I've already heard this before, from other Jack Benny's done this on his own show. He did it in his TV show, so I've heard this done probably a little better, mostly because it's with his audience, and his audience knows what's up. This audience doesn't necessarily, I'm sure that the audience members of this don't necessarily, listen to Jack Benny himself. So there's a lot of references like to Carmichael and Polar Bear, which kind of goes over their head because they haven't heard. They didn't get Mel Blanc to play Carmichael or anything like that. So yeah, but the main scene is, Jack finally infiltrates, like wheedles his way into a rehearsal between Claudette and Basil with Ernest Lubitsch right there. And he says, "Oh, the better man, may the best man win." And Basil does "Oh no, it's the better man. There's only two people involved." So before you try out for this part, I would suggest that you learn how to speak English. And so it's pretty funny. Jack Benny make anything funny, and so it was the highlight of the thing. But at the same time, like I said, it wasn't his best performance of that script. But it was really cool. It was a little nostalgic for me because I got to hear some old voices that I'm in, like, right now I'm listening to all of Jack Benny's programs, and I'm in the 50s now, and a lot of his old, like, sidemen have gone, and it was cool to hear their voices again, and so that was really dope. But yeah, like I said, it's still pretty cool, but it's not his best performance of that script. But yeah, like I said, they included it because I could tell they included it just because it's Lubitsch is in it, which I think is stupid. So yeah, not a great one. Trouble in Paradise, B-. Bleh. All right, so that's it for today. Tomorrow, oh jeez, tomorrow we got. I'm contemptingly awaiting Contempt. Oh jeez. Two discs, plenty of supplements, crazy supplements, and in French, of course. It's all going to be in French. Oh, whoop-de-doo. And then Tuesday we're going to do Pepe Le Moco. And then after that, I'm not sure. I'm still trying to talk to my brother about when we're going to be able to do Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It might be next Monday. It might be next Tuesday. Not sure. But because of it, yeah, I'm not sure when I'm actually going to do Life and Death of Colonel Blimp or Band of Outsiders. We're either if we do Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas on Tuesday, then I'll do Life and Death of Colonel Blimp on Sunday, and then Band of Outsiders on Monday. And then if we do it on Monday, then I'll do Life and Death of Colonel Blimp on maybe Thursday night or Saturday night, and then Band of Outsiders on Sunday. I'm not sure. I think there's actually something going on where I may have to do Life and Death of Colonel Blimp on Thursday night, which I don't want to do because it's a really long film, and it's not a very funny film. I don't think it's not a funny film. But it is Powell and Pressburger, so I may enjoy it for that. But yeah, so anyway, hopefully by tomorrow or Tuesday I'll have my schedule all figured out for the next couple of releases. And the Killers, as far as after that, the Killers, I've requested the Killers, they're on their way. And I think there's something else. Oh, The Lost Honor of Katharina Bloom, which is on its, I think it should be coming soon, sometime by the end of the week or next week. And then after that we got the I Am Curious box set, and then a couple others, and yeah, and then we'll just keep moving on. So anyway, that's it for me tonight. Thank you for watching. Don't fall in love with pickpockets. Don't steal. Period. Don't don't steal from perfume heiresses. Anyway, dang, I didn't realize I'd be talking about this for this long, but anyway. That's it for me. Yeah, thanks for watching. Don't steal, and we will see you tomorrow for Contempt. Until then, goodbye.